One of the cutest characters is coming into Wuthering Waves, Sigrika. Many people plan to skip because of the upcoming characters, but is this the right choice? In this video I'll be going over her kit, what you can farm, if you're planning to pull for her signature weapon, and finally what I think if you should pull for her or not. So a quick kit overview is in order. So let's start with what Sigrika actually is and what's her role in this world of Wuthering Waves. So she's an arrow gauntlet resonator whose entire kit revolves around echo skill damage. Almost everything she does counts as echo skill damage, and that's huge because she does echo skill damage.
Well, duh.
Yeah. And how she busts the whole entire team, she has a rune system where she collects trust and answer runes from hitting enemies and then consumes them with her heavy attack to unleash different effects, such as Rune Outburst, Chain Whip for Stagger, or Solar Skin for grouping enemies. I'm sure you're all wondering, how does the rune system actually work? So I'm gonna explain the forte in several terms so it's easier to understand. So basically, if you hit an enemy with a basic attack always stated, basically you gotta be in Decipher state to enable this. And to enter this Decipher state, you gotta do 4 basic attacks, so pretty easy. And in the same Decipher state, you just gotta do a dodge counter, and you get a trust rune. And to get a answer rune, you gotta hit an enemy with a big boomy boom, basically a 4 attack combo and a skill, or a Solar Skin to the aid, a 3 hit combo, basic attack combo with a skill, and you get an answer rune. Once you have 2 runes, hold normal attack or basically just heavy attack to consume them, and that will be casting heavy attack schematica of runes. The combo of runes will change depends on what runes you have. So if you have a trust and answer, that will be the big damage you'll be dealing. 2 trust runes that will stagger enemies. 2 answer runes, pulling enemies in. And here's the key, she also builds full stop, and at full stop, basically her forte bar, hold version skill to cast Learn My True Name, which is her big nuke damage. But here's the part where most people are sleeping on, and this is why she might be broken. Her inherent skill, True Name Aligned, is where it gets crazy. Every time any resonator on your team casts an echo skill, Sigrika gets a stack of blessing runes, up to 6 times. Each stack gives the active character 3% arrow damage and 3% echo skill damage. That's 18% at 6 stacks before the bonus kicks in. And on top of that, she gets an additional 30% arrow damage and 30% echo skill damage. And it doesn't even stop there. For every 1% energy regen, she has over 125%. She gets 2% more echo skill damage bonus, up to 50%. Stack energy regen is your top priority, and she becomes like, a powerhouse. Like, what the hell? So onto her ultra skill, she basically just deals 795% attack as arrow damage and gives you 2% of encapsulated. What does that mean? Basically, the next 2 times your team casts echo skill is stagnates that target. Free crowd control just for her swapping out, Normal, right? She's already insane already. So yeah, she sounds insane, but before you pull, let me show you what you need to farm because some of these materials are going to take you a while. So her echo is Sound of True Name. You want to focus on energy regen first, as I said just a few seconds ago. And her boss materials, Nameless Explorer, basically the 𝐴𝐚𝐻 bot, overworld boss if you were pre-farming 𝐴𝐚𝐻. And the weekly boss, 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐬. But basically the just new weekly boss we have. You need 26 of those, and the normal weapon materials, 25 green, 28 blue, 55 purple, 67 gold. And character specialty or arithmetic shell. You need 60 of them. So basically you can pretty much farm everything for Sigrika right now. So let's talk about her signature weapon, Solsworn Ciphers. And this weapon is just disgusting on her. At level 90, you're getting 48.6 crit damage as the substat, and which is already solid. No, it's amazing. Like, wow. Crit damage? Say you just really want to build crit rate for the 4-star 𝐿𝐴, but the passive is where it gets crazy. First, you get a 12% attack increase. That's just like, okay, that's normal. Then every time you cast an 𝐼𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐞𝐫 skill or echo skill damage, note, echo skill damage is basically her whole entire kit, and you get a 32% echo skill damage amplification for 15 seconds. I'm like, what the hell? She already deals echo skill damage for everything she does. Okay, let's just do amplification, you know? This buff is basically permanent on her. And then on top of that, whenever you do a echo skill damage, your arrow damage ignores 10% of the target's defense for 6 seconds. I'm like, what the hell? And just note, this is just refinement 1 of the weapon. So no dupes of the weapon or anything. This weapon is stacking multiplayer on top of multiplayer on top of multiplayer. So if you're pulling Sigrika, this weapon is a massive upgrade. Like, this is no doubt the best weapon for her. Like, anytime soon. Anytime soon? What does that mean? Okay. The only question is whether you can afford the character and the weapon. Here's my take. If you like the character, have an echo skill base characters such as 𝐿𝐴, Ferova, Cantrell, or in need of a DPS, Sigrika is looking for a must-pull. Her Blessing of Rune's passive alone makes her valuable. But if you're saving for the upcoming collab or the new characters introduced in Wuthering Waves 3.2 trailer, or you just don't like her, I would just skip. If you do plan to pull Sigrika, I would really recommend you pull her and her weapon because she is just broken with her weapon. I'll just put it that plainly and simple. So if this helped you decide, drop a like so I know to keep making these pre-release guides. Subscribe if you're new. I do fast guides for every Wuthering Waves characters. So I'll see you soon in 3.2.